TeX is a non-profit organisation based in Par, dedicated to creating sustainable fashion within their community, originating in early 2016 from the minds of two Falmouth University Business School graduates. TeX has begun to combat the throwaway culture within the fast fashion industry by taking waste from over 70 sea salt stores, repurposing returns and damaged items, which would usually end up in the landfill, along with 235 million other items of clothing that ended up there last year alone. With clothes consumption likely to be responsible for a quarter of the climate change impact in the future, co-founder Harry Deacon explains how TeX offers a solution which positively impacts not only the environment, but their community and wider issues in Cornwall.
So sustainable fashion and combating the environment is something that's kind of come secondary for us. As a community business, we're much more about supporting our local communities and the people who are within those communities. There's lots of businesses around Cornwall that are working in fashion, some of them sustainable fashion, some of them less sustainable. And we found that with TeX we could use innovation and combine that with our own creativity skills to combine both a way of promoting environmental change and also supporting the development of individuals within our local community. We're destroying oceans, we're destroying people, we're destroying habitats, we're destroying everything there is positive about the environment, everything that's going to allow us to continue and also continue to gain access to resources. We have to use more sustainably, so it kind of goes hand in hand. The companies are producing a lot of the pollution, and yes, it is in their responsibility to tackle that and bring the pollution down. However, that isn't going to change unless it's something that happens on an individual level, and we are insistent on that change happening. So we have to pursue and we have to speak and get involved with these businesses to make sure that it becomes something at the top of their agenda, because without having their consumers and their customers making the demand that these changes happen, it's not necessarily going to happen. So we provide a space where people can come together, get creative, have fun and be sociable, actually making things out of the waste textiles that we have on site. You get a lot of overseas aid going abroad and things, and that is the face value poverty and the face value problems that quite often you get portrayed through the media. You get people that look very malnourished, people that have problems getting drinking water and things like that, and that's very visible. We find that in Cornwall a lot of the effects and impacts of poverty aren't necessarily those visible ones, but the things that actually are behind the closed doors that you don't necessarily see. The food banks that they're visiting, the fact that their children only have school shoes. And it's those kinds of things that relate to poverty that we want to alleviate.
We're making bags that are going to the food banks and dignity bags for period poverty and all that sort of thing. And it's just a nice thing to give back. I didn't know what period poverty was until I sort of came here and we were talking about and with John and that, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was an issue. And funny enough, I was talking to someone the other day about food banks, and it's my son, my youngest son, and when you think food banks, you think food. You don't think about ladies' sanitary products, shaving stuff for men, milk for babies, nappies for babies. They're all things that, if you're in poverty, are necessities, but not cheap. And yeah, it's. I love helping, but it's a crying shame that it's needed.
The significance of social inclusion and environmental awareness TeX provides is evident by their volunteers.
It's really important because I first came here, I'm no friend and no family here. Women like me, it come from another country. We have problem with the language.
Yeah.
When sometimes you think if you can organize some group up with the women with not confidence with the speaking in English language, maybe it's good, it's used to, and For me, I'm not confident to go to work somewhere else. People don't understand me when I'm speaking. But here it's okay, I can enjoy and to do things, yeah. We can exchange skills together, yeah, because sometimes I just learn from Anna, even I sewing, but I don't know the technique on things like that. Some people know this technique. We can share experience together as well, because we have to think about how we recycle the fabric, reuse the fabric again, and think about what to do with it. We need to think more. Some fabric you can't just put on the landfill. They're not going to gone by 1 or 2 years. It maybe keep for 100 years.
So what does it mean for a project like TeX to recently be shortlisted for the Best Community Partnership with Business Award?
Community groups we find very rarely do get any recognition. So actually to be recognised was quite humbling. Since then, I've kind of gone a bit backwards on my opinion and my kind of feelings. I'm still really honoured that we've got this award. But what's scary is the industry is producing hundreds and thousands of tons of textiles in the UK, or textiles waste in the UK. And we're only tackling a small proportion of that. And to be then recognised as the best, you kind of question, well, if we're the best, what else is actually not happening that needs to happen, and what more can we do?
This has been Mia Howlett reporting for Truthful.